Hi, this is Lucia with The Art of Love. And anyone who's been listening to me for a while knows that I've always maintained that anyone who's willing to rush into a relationship is just as likely to rush out of that same relationship. And it was confirmed yet again tonight when I spoke with someone who told me about what just happened to him. He was dating a girl and everything was wonderful for the first 3 months, as it usually is. And he figured that, yeah, she was the one, but he still wanted to take his time and go slowly. But after 3 months, she tried to get him to, move in. Like she wanted to move in with him. So she was pushing to move in, and he said, no, we need to wait. We need to just keep the status quo and see how things progress. But don't worry, I love you and I do want to marry you, but I just want to slow things down a bit. And she even said, well, I'll just, put a suitcase by the door. You don't have to make any extra room for me. And he's like, are you kidding? Come on, if you're going to move in, I'll give you closet space and all that. There's no way you're going to have a suitcase by the door. So it kind of makes you wonder, why is she trying to rush in? Why is she trying to move in so fast? And why is she just willing to have this suitcase by the door? So fast forward 4 more months, they're now at 7 months, she goes to the opposite coast and he gets a phone call and she said, well, I might be taking a job here. It's a really great job. So, it's already been 7 months and you haven't proposed. So if you're not going to marry me, I'm going to take this job. And he couldn't believe it because he had introduced her to his parents and he had never introduced anyone to his parents. He was certain she was the one. He had been telling her all along, don't worry, you're the one. And now at 7 months, she's pushing for him to propose. Otherwise, talk about an ultimatum. Usually women say, marry me or I'm gone. But she's saying, marry me or I'm going to be living on the opposite coast. And I have a job lined up. And so luckily, he said, well, I can't. I can't rush into this. And so, as it stands now, they're broken up. So my first question is, what's the big rush? You always hear about people rushing in after, dating 2 weeks. They're already seeing each other every night. Rush. What's the big rush? I'll tell you what the big rush is. The people that rush into things are the ones who are not happy. Because if someone is happy with themselves, they've got a great life, they got lots going on, they've got their friends and their career, their job, their pets, their family, their travel, whatever, they're going to make sure that whoever they bring into their life, it's not going to mess things up for them. So they're going to vet that person and make sure that they're going to be compatible no matter what they feel initially, because they know that all that glitters is not gold. And people put on their best face in the beginning, and then you really find out who you're dealing with. So if someone's willing to rush in, that means they're not happy and they're trying to sew things up with that person because they think that person will make them happy. And of course, it doesn't happen. And so then it's even worse because they got into the relationship with you thinking it was going to make them happy, and now they're not. And now they're out of there. And now you're unhappy. See how it works? In fact, there's a quote that the Navy SEALs have which says, don't run to your death. Or actually, don't rush into your death, which basically means you don't go into a situation without knowing everything there is to know about that situation. And it's the same thing with dating. You don't rush in with a person to move in, to have a committed relationship, marriage, unless you know exactly who that person is and what you're dealing with. Now, is there ever an exception? Well, the only exception I can think of is if one of you is terminally ill. So if someone's dying and for various reasons you want to be married before that person passes away, then that's the exception. Yes, in that case, rush away because you don't have a lot of time. But otherwise, should you ever rush? No, there's never, ever, ever any need to rush. So if someone is rushing, just remember, if they're willing to rush in, they're just as likely to rush out. If you have any comments or questions about this week's podcast, I'd love to hear from you. You can contact me at my website, theartoflove.net, And in the meantime, remember that love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.